Hi, this is Ashley Dvorak, and I am going to go over with you how to requesting a rescission and the new deactivation form, and then I will go over how to search for construction permits in Easy Air. All right. Okay, to request a rescission through Easy Air, you're going to want to navigate to the start of a new submittal page, which has all the submittal types listed, as we've shown you here. And then you will want to click on the rescission module. One thing to note at this point is if you come here and you do not see the rescission application available, you will have to add it to your account. We are in the process of manually adding this application type to our RO's accounts, but it will take us some time to do that. So in order to do that, Kevin went over that in accessing the system yesterday morning. Otherwise, there are additional instructions available on the eAir Services website in the Easy Air Public User Guide, or there are instructions in the Rescission Application Instructions Guide on that website to access on how to add this rescission application to your account.
So why is it listed as rescission on the construction standard application as a check mark? That should never be used for a rescission, correct?
What do you mean?
Well, if you click on the construction standard application at the very beginning, it gives you, why are you submitting this? And one of the check boxes is a rescission, which doesn't make sense. If you're submitting a new application, why would you have rescission as a checkbox on that application?
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying now. Easy Air was set up with originally had a different way to request rescission. And we are working at getting that deactivated. It was not conducive to being easy to do. You have had to go through and on each permit, you would have to submit a standard construction application for each permit and pass all that validation for each permit that you would want to rescind. And so what we did was, instead of, it was very cumbersome, we figured it was going to be very cumbersome to our facilities. So what we did was we created a separate rescission application to make it easier to submit request a rescission through Easy Air that would streamline the system more and make it more the process that was before.
So the bottom line is, do not use the construction standard application to rescind a permit. Use the rescission form that Ashley's going to explain here.
Correct. So this is the rescission application form. We're going to get this something that's not correct on test currently. So we'll have to get icon fixed, but that's a small thing. So what you do is you'll start this application, and there's two forms that you have to fill out. One is a Form FI facility information, and at the very top of here, this is just like the facility information form that you fill out for a standard construction application or one of our other applications. You'll have a list when you select the company / facility name of all the facilities that you are an RO for, and you can select the facility that you're wanting to request a rescission for. for one of their permits, and their facility address and the facility number will show up again. You'll have to enter the facility contact person's name and then their position and then their email address. Right, this is not Easy Air autofilling. This is Google Chrome, which is my web browser that is trying to autofill these selections. So I'll show you what that looks like. The person rescission letter should be mailed to. If it's going to be the same person as the facility contact, you can just select the box, same as facility contact, and their information will fill in. Otherwise, just fill in whoever is supposed to get the rescission letter. And then the same thing down here. If the facility address up here is the correct mailing address for the person who's supposed to get the rescission letter, just check this box. Otherwise, fill in the mailing address where it should be mailed to. Then click save and next. Okay, next is this rescission form, which will be which is based upon the information that you requested to send in with the rescission. The first question here is, would you like to provide a request for rescission letter as an attachment? If you'd like to not fill out this form and just attach a statement stating the permits and the reason for rescission, you can do that and just click yes. And then the next page on attachments, you will be required to attach a rescission request for rescission letter there. If you select no, you'll have to go through the validation. The first thing to fill out is this interactive table, and you must fill out this interactive table to pass the validation. You can add as many records as you would like to here. And I am going to show you a few things on this. The first one is when you select the EPID, the permit number and the will fill in, and if it's a PSD permit, which is marked symbolized by a P here, at the end of the permit number, this PSD permit box will be checked. If this is filled out incorrectly, you can always uncheck it. Everything fills in from the EPID, so you can change a permit number if you'd like to here. But if you change the EPID number, it will change the permit number. So like here, it will change it there. And then we'll put in, and then the other one I want to show you is that like you come up to one that has blank here. And then you can select what permit it is if it's on this listing. Unfortunately, if it is not on this listing, you can do one. You have two options here a little bit. You can, if it's on this listing, or it's on this listing of permits, and you have more than one permit that you would like to rescind, then what you can always do is come down here and type in the emission point that you would like to rescind. Additionally, with the permit number. And then you can also, in this box, you're supposed to state your reason as well, so you can do that below here. So I'm going to say these emission points have been disconnected and removed. And you can, and then you'll have to delete this one off here. And then you can submit this way. If you had only one permit you wanted to rescind and it was that permit, you would have to select yes here because it wouldn't pass validation and upload a request for rescission letter. This shouldn't happen very often. It's going to be, majority of them are going to be older permits that were not in construction permit search or or spars. So you'll hit next here, and then this is where rescission, this is the attachments page. So on rescission letter, this is where if you had to had said yes to that first question on the previous page, it would show that would be required and you'd have to upload it. This is the new deactivation form. We do have, this was just added to production where you can attach this form. This is a form that is available to view on the eAir Services website under what instructions are available. And I'm going to go through this form real quick with you. This is an optional form to fill out. You do not have to fill out this form, but it is a good time to think about filling out during your rescission because you are removing, you're either removing equipment or removing emission points or control equipment. And what this form will do is you will submit it to the department and we will not delete off your data, but we will just hide it. So that way, when you go to fill out your standard construction permit application and you get to the EU or the EP or even the CE forms, it will pare down the listing that you have to go through and of equipment and make sure it's up to date. And you can always bring that data back. And we can undo that form. All this form is doing is just allowing us to hide those emission units and EPIDs and CE IDs from your listing so you don't have to search through stuff that's not really there at the facility anymore. To fill out this form, you would have to fill out the facility name and facility number. We need the EPID, CEID, or EUID of the equipment you want to have deactivated in the system, the operation end date, description, and then if there is an emission point permit number that's associated with it. When we brought everything over from Slice, there were emission units and emission points in there that were used for like exemptions that are on these listings, or if you have something that's a fugitive that's never been permitted, but it's still an emission point that was in Slice. Those might be some reasons why you wouldn't have an EP permit number. And what you'll do is you'll fill it out for all the equipment that you want to deactivate under the boxes, and add any comments you want here regarding this equipment. If there's something you need a comment about, just add your comments here. And then requesters contact information. We need your name, email number, phone number, and then the date that you're requesting it. Please leave the plant note, just leave this part blank. We'll fill that in. And then we have added if you have a lot of emission units or emission points or control equipment or whatever, we do have an additional equipment form back down here that you can play as many times as you need and submit it with your application. And we give you the option to submit it at this point in time because we figure it's on your mind and something that would pare down your listings. And like I said, would just hide that information. We wouldn't actually deleting it out of Easy Arrow, just hide that information from your listings and they can always bring it back. And it is an optional form. You do not have to fill it out, but we just give you a placeholder here to attach it at that time. You'll want to hit next here. And this is the validation. And as long as everything is checked with a green check mark, your patent has all validation. So we'll hit next. Payments is grayed out. We do not charge for that at all. And submission, this is a certification submission page. You'll certify here. You have the legal authority to request rescission for one of the more construction permits for one of these reasons. It's stated here. You'll fill out the security question and enter your 4-digit PIN that you had when you signed up you created when you signed up for your account, and you'll hit submit. And at this point, you should receive an email that states that rescission request was received in the Easy Air system, and also you'll receive this confirmation of submittal receipt. And that's how you request a rescission through Easy Air. And then next portion I'm going to show you is how to find your permits, construction permits in Easy Air. So I'm going to log out of here.
Ashley, before you move on, can I just have you confirm 2 things about what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Would you confirm that the deactivation form that you showed is not by itself enough to rescind a permit? Is that correct?
Correct. That's not enough to rescind it.
Okay. You need to go through the actual process of filling out the form to rescind. And
yes.
And the deactivation form, would you agree that it's particularly useful for facilities that have a lot of equipment so that they can remove that equipment that has been removed off those tables in Easy Air so that they actually have an easier time finding the active equipment? Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that, John. That's what I was trying to emphasize with, if you want to remove some of those exempt units off of, some of the exempt and the fugitive source units off of,
Right.
or even grandfathered off of your emission unit tables or control equipment tables or emission point tables. It helps with larger facilities that have a lot of equipment.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Over time.
Thank you. That's what I thought. Thank you.
So I'm going to go on and I'm now going to talk about how to find a construction permit within Easy Air, or even check them on your active applications, or if you want to see what is out for public comment, you can do all that in this system. So out here on the main page where you would sign in, there's a public inquiry portal. Search for applications and permits submitted in Easy Air. Please click on this link. And up will come the public inquiry portal. And it has 3 tabs: active applications, final permits, and public notice. On the applications tab, you will find all of the in-house projects that we have. There's quite a few, as you can see. The biggest things on this page that you can see here is it'll display the facility information, the facility and the facility number. If it's been given a project number or if it's got an EIQ number attached to it, it'll show it there. And then you'll also see over here the review status and the engineer permit writer assigned. Here's example 1 that's assigned. Otherwise, it'll be blank until it's assigned. And then up here, you can search for active applications many different ways. If you are use the SML ID if you know that, submitted date, site address, city, county, the facility name or the facility number. If you're looking for a certain program, you can narrow it by construction versus Title V. You can narrow it down by application type or even project number or EIQ number if you know it's been assigned and you know it. So I'm going to go over with you and show you how to search. So I'm going to put in 49346 for a submittal ID and search for that. This is for Van D Supply Company here. It shows the facility ID, the project number, the review status was pre-application review complete, and Michael Hermson was the permit writer assigned. And you'll go in to click on view. And in view, you can see the application basic information a little bit more. It has SMIL ID, the project number / EIQ number if it's going to be a Title V, permit number, submitted date, the facility name, facility number, the city and county where the facility is located at, the submittal type, the type of application, and then who is assigned to, and who submitted it, and then the current status that it's at. And you have this comment periods ends. Not all permits go out for public comment, or projects even go out for public comment, I should say. If this is filled in, then you will have to go to the public notice tab to find more details on that public comment, but it will fill in at least the comment period end state here. And these instructions are also up here, as you can see. Application form details. This is this is the entire application that was submitted to the department on here. And then if you attached anything, you want to see attachments, attachments are located back here. Go back to search. And now I'm going to go over I'm going to skip over the final permit and go to the public notice tab. And on here are all the permit projects out for public comment. Biggest thing here is that public comment date period, public comment period ends is right here. This date will also be filled in on that active applications view page. And then this shows the project type, what the project is a permit rescission or non-payment. You can see the facility name, facility number here for where you're looking for. And so I'm going to go down to this one, which is 50053. And this will show the facility and project information, the SMIL ID, the SMIL name, the project number, EIQ number, submitted date, the facility name and number, and where it was located at, and as far as the city and county in Iowa, the project type, and then this comment periods end date is filled in here. This down here is public comment contact information, where you can submit your comments in writing, and it will display the permit engineer who was assigned that project, their contact information. And then you will have, here's public comment documents. Obviously, this only has a few in here. A lot of times there's a lot more. We have a search function here. So if you have a lot of documents and you want to see like the application, or you want to see draft permit, it will search for that, any other documents it has. Down here's the application form details of all the application that was submitted to the department. We're going to go back to search. Okay, and next we're going to go on to the final permit tab. In here, you can search for all new permits or all permits that were submitted after EasyAir went live, or even the ones that were submitted prior to EasyAir going live, which the date of that is December 5th, 2019. So you can search by submittal ID, permit number, the issued date, if you know that, street address, the city and county of the facility, facility name, the facility number. If you want to just check out PSD only permits, we can pull up PSD only permits. Program area, if you want to sort between program areas. You can sort by application type, but there's one key element here. If the project was submitted prior to December 5th, 2019, there's only 3 submittal application types that will actually show up. There's only 3 application types that actually will sort through. Everything else is going to be under construction standard application. And the three that will sort prior to December 5th, 2019 is the Group 1 grain elevators, the paint booth permit by rules, and we are currently working on rescissions to show up in the system. So those three you can sort prior with application type prior to that December 5th, 2019 date. Everything else is going to be just considered a construction standard application if you try to use the search function. So I am going to come up here and keep in mind that we have everything in here that was in construction permit search, and permits issued prior to 2000 may not be imaged yet. So we have everything that's been imaged, but if stuff hasn't been imaged to be up here, it won't. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to show you how to search by facility number. And I'm going to put that in. And up will come the entire facility permits listing. And this is a large facility. It has 2 pages worth. And the biggest things you'll see up here is it'll display the facility name, facility number, the permit number will be here, and the project and / EIQ number will be filled in, especially if it was submitted in Easy Air. And emission point, the emission point description, and the date permit issued. And then if it has rescission, the rescission date will display here. And then we do have a historical permit link. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. For any permits that were issued after December 5th, 2019, or in that time frame, will display, it should display a document icon that is red here that is active. If it was after, if it was prior to that December 5th, 2019 date, you'll have this grayed out view. But this one was issued after that December 5th go live date. So it will show up here the permit that was issued out and display that. Now, if it was something that was submitted prior to December 5th, 2019, it will have this historical permit link. And as you can see, they're in here. And like I said, we're working on rescissions. So I'm going to show you this solvent parts washer exhaust on here. And what this will do when you click on the view for the historical permit link, this is going to link back to the construction permit search. That's what this window is going to open up. This does take a little bit of time to connect the two systems. So we'll display here, and you'll see that this is construction permit search. You'll click on the arrow button because it will take you directly to that permit. And when you click on that, it should download it. There it is. And then you will be able to open it up on your computer and display it. And there is that permit. And that is how you search for your applications, view public notice, or even view all your existing permits that you have in Easy